This next section is about Ramick when he is age 9. So the one that you just listened to was Samson when he was 6, and now Ramick is age 9. And remember, they grew up in the 80s in that area of Newark that you looked at in the Bell Ringer. 9-year-old Ramick Hunt was in trouble again. For the third time that week, he sat in the "oh man, you're in trouble now" chair in the principal's office and waited for the nun to come out and yell at him once more. It means he goes to a Catholic school because there's a nun. "Ramick, what have you done this time?" she asked as she ushered him into a room so small he felt like he couldn't breathe. The tall nun, dressed in all black, never smiled. "Was it my fault, sister? I finished my work and I just wanted to see if I threw my pencil up to the ceiling real hard if it would stick there. So I kept tossing it up. I almost made it too," he added proudly. "Then a couple of the other kids saw what I was doing and started copying me, so the teacher threw me out of class again." After saying it, Ramick knew his explanation sounded dumb. He picked at a loose thread on his uniform. "Of course it was your fault," the nun replied sharply. "Someone could have been seriously hurt when all the pencils landed." Ramick wanted to say that he doubted a falling pencil could kill anybody, but he figured he was in enough trouble already. He sighed and wished once more that his mother had not transferred him from public school to this Catholic school, where the rules were strict and the academic work was too easy. In a way, he liked telling people he went to Catholic school because to the kids in the neighborhood, it meant your family had a little money. But the reality of going to the school every day was not the same as boasting to your friends. "Why didn't you just do your arithmetic like the rest of the class?" the principal asked. "There were 100 problems on your classwork assignment." "I finished it. It was easy," Ramick told her. "I learned multiplication and division at my old school." It's the principal's turn to sigh. "Ramick, little boys who cause constant disruptions in class never grow up to be successful people. You must learn self-control." "I'm trying, sister," Ramick said, "but I get bored, my mind gets to thinking about stuff, and then I'm in trouble again." The principal cleared her throat. "You're a teacher, and I think that perhaps you should be tested for behavioral issues or attention issues." "What?" Ramick asked. He really got to feel special in school these days. Maybe this was something cool? "There's a classroom where there's a slower pace and the classes are smaller and you could have not as many distractions and you would not have the distractions of so many academic and social challenges," the principal replied. Ramick frowned. "I know what you're really saying, but I'm not slow, sister. I like doing the work in class and I like the kids here. I like the school, really." He looked at her with honest confusion. "I can't help it if I keep getting in trouble." "I will discuss this with your mother. We feel it might be for the best," the principal said. "Get back to class now and try to behave." The principal looked at him through the glasses perched on her nose. "Oh, and Ramick?" "Yes, ma'am," the boy replied as he turned to leave. "Tell your mother that her tuition payment is due Friday." Ramick rolled his eyes and stomped out of her office. The principal made him feel angry and stupid. He balled up his fist, knocked over the chair reserved for kids in trouble, and stormed down the hall. The hallway, with its scuffed floors and tall windows covered with wire, loomed ahead of him, empty and silent. All the classroom doors were closed, but Ramick could hear sounds coming from each one as they passed by. The sing-song chant of first graders, the noisy disruption of sixth graders. Ramick, full of pent-up anger and frustration, took a deep breath. At the far end of the hall, a sixth-grade boy Ramick knew only as Meatball came out of his classroom with a bathroom pass. Meatball was a bully. So remember, Ramick's only 9. This student's in 6th grade. Meatball was a bully and had been pushing Ramick around at lunchtime. In public school, Ramick had learned to fight to solve his problems. But in Catholic school, even though he felt out of place, Ramick had gradually learned to solve his problems through peaceful means. Sometimes a fight was unavoidable. The boy walked toward him, and Ramick imagined himself in a cowboy movie. He would be the cool cowboy with the black hat, the fast horse, and the silver bullets in his gun. Just the two of them, heading toward each other down the dusty street, waiting for the showdown. Meatball, much larger and stronger looking than Ramick, glared at him as the two got closer. "Your mom is on welfare," the boy hissed as he passed. Ramick wasn't sure that the kid didn't even know his mother, but he wasn't going to let that dude talk about her. Ramick had had enough. He made a fist and punched Meatball in the stomach. "Don't you be talking about my mama," he growled as he hit the boy again. Ramick, glad to have an excuse to release some of his frustration, pulled Meatball down on the floor, and the two rolled around in the empty hallway for several minutes, exchanging fierce punches and pent-up anger. The classroom door opened then, and both boys, almost on cue, jumped up, dusted off their wrinkled and torn uniforms, and headed off in opposite directions. Ramick somehow felt better. He had no idea how the other boy felt, but he had a feeling that he wouldn't be picking on Ramick anymore. Basically, Ramick liked most of the students at his school. He came from a wide background of families and cultures, and his first exposure to people different from him. It was his first exposure to people different from himself. Remick thought it was pretty cool, but he never tell that to the dour nun in the principal's office. Dour means like sour, Barbie. When Remick got home that afternoon, his mother was asleep. He thought she looked beautiful as she lay there. In fact, she was so pretty she could be Miss America. Of course, he had never seen a black Miss America, but he figured there's always a first time. He didn't wake her, but left and headed for his grandmother's house a few blocks away. "Hey, Ma," he called to her as he walked into her warm kitchen, which smelled of fried chicken. All of her children and grandchildren simply called her Ma. "How you doing, boy?" His grandmother gave him a big hug. "You hungry?" Ramick nodded and grabbed an apple from the kitchen table. "All the time." "How's school, Ramick?" his grandmother asked as she fixed him a plate. "I don't know. Those nuns be tripping. They're always yelling at me. I want to go back to my old school." Ramick conveniently left out the part about getting in a fight. "Your mother put you in that school so you could get a better education, boy. Don't mess that up," his grandmother warned. "I already know the stuff we're doing in class, Ma, and the principal said she was going to put me in some special class. She was going to be tested just because I can't behave." "But you're so smart," his grandmother said. "Weren't you in a gifted and talented program after school last year?" Remick nodded and then pounded the table with his fist. Forks and spoons flew in the air. "This ain't fair, Ma. It doesn't make sense that your school thinks that you're not smart enough to do the work," his grandmother mused. "Tell me about it," Remick said glumly as he ate his dinner. "Maybe I'll talk to your mama and we can get you out of there. There's no way she's going to let them put you in classes that aren't right for you." "If I go back to public school, I can go back to that program," Remick said hopefully. "The lady who runs it, Mrs. Hatt, told me I was smart and cute, too." Remick grinned, large dimples showing on his round face. Ma laughed and pinched Ramick's cheek. "We're going to see that what we can do to get you out of that school and back to a place where you can do well. We expect a lot out of you. You know that, boy." "Yes, ma'am," Ramick replied. He hated being pushed, but at the same time he loved the high expectations his family set for him. "Your mama go to work today?" his grandmother then asked. Ramick nodded. "I guess. She was asleep when I got home. She works pretty hard. I think she gets paid tomorrow." "Your mama loves you. You know that, don't you?" "She wants the best for you, but sometimes life gets bigger than she is," his grandmother told him. "You'll understand when you get grown." "I know she loves me," Ramick replied. "Last year when we went to Disney World, everybody in the block was hating me. That was so cool." His smile faded a little. "But sometimes I just wish." "I know what you wish, and wishing ain't going to change nothing. Can't nobody help you but yourself. You do what you got to do, and you make your life something we can all be proud of." Ma always took the tough love stance with Ramick, giving him support but never babying him. "Yes, ma'am," Ramick replied obediently. But he had no idea how to reach his grandmother's expectations. He couldn't even figure out how to deal with the next day. End of Ramick section.